Morning glory and evening grace, America. I'm Hugh. Excuse the laryngitis. It's still sticking around, but I didn't want to delay this interview. A few days ago, I saw this headline pop up in the Wall Street Journal. Palantir thinks college might be a waste, so it's hiring high school grads. Goes on to talk about their meritocracy fellowships. They're doing 22 of them this year, where they take kids out of high school, they give them 4 months of Western civilization, and they send them out into the bad old world of work. Running that program, or helping to run it, is Jordan Hirsch, who joins me right now. Jordan, welcome back. I can't remember the first time you were on with me. When was that?
It's great to be here. I've never had the pleasure actually, but we've been in touch over the years, and it's really an honor. Thanks for having me.
Well, then I got to ask you my first two questions. First question is, was Alger Hiss a communist spy?
Alger Hiss was. It seems history has proven that he was indeed a communist spy.
And have you read The Looming Tower?
We not only have we read The Looming Tower was required reading for our meritocracy fellows. So it's a book that's I've
Oh,
reread it now multiple times.
you have made my day. I want to give you the floor because my voice is broken to explain the Palantir program. By the way, Jordan is so credentialed, Second Circuit clerk, Covington and Burling, Strauss Center fellow, clerked on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, so he got all the clearances. He knows everything. Jordan, what are you doing at Palantir with these 18-year-olds? Because I think it's great.
Well, thanks for asking. We think it's really special. What we're doing with these 18-year-olds is we said to ourselves that something is not working with the college system. It needs a serious amount of reform. And the main problem with the college system is that they have stopped selecting students on the basis of meritocracy. They've promoted other values. And as a result, some really excellent students are slipping through the cracks. And the ones that are making it to the elite colleges and universities aren't being served the way that they should be served with the education that they deserve. And we said to ourselves, why don't we just do this ourselves? We believe that aptitude matters more than experience and skill. And so we decided to go test that theory and experiment a little bit. And we put out in April, basically in the span of a week, we decided to throw this together and said, if you want to skip the debt and skip the indoctrination, come build at Palantir. And we received over 500 applications from students all over the country. And I'll tell you, the beautiful thing is we have an amazingly diverse class that was born out of meritocracy. We have students from all kinds of socioeconomic backgrounds all over the country, the East, the West, the Midwest, the South. And it's been a really special experience putting them all in the same place. And I will tell you, they are contributing right alongside our experienced, tenured Palantir software engineers and contributing to customer outcomes, which is the most important thing for us.
Now, Jordan, I joked that I got into Harvard long ago and far away on the Ohio quota, but it's because I was a National Merit Scholar. They just took you. And I wonder, how do you identify merit in 2025? Because I don't even know if we're administering the National Merit PTSA or whatever, PSAT anymore. How do you pick them?
Yeah, it's a great question. We pick them largely on the, and for us, it's even maybe a little bit easier. We know what fits at Palantir, but what we're looking for is a degree of, at the bottom, agency and autonomy. Are you willing to take on responsibility and can you run with it? Or are you going to wait for direction and do you need to be told what to do? The people who really succeed at Palantir are the people who have agency and can really take the ball and run with it. Obviously, you have to have talent. For most of the kids, you have to have some coding experience or ability, but that's really at the bottom what we're looking for. So we've really scrapped all the things that you would find in the traditional college admission system, which has become laden down with all kinds of different, kind of quote unquote holistic uh, 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 ways of evaluation, and really stripped it down to the core of, do we think this person fits in our culture or not? And we're treating them equally. We're putting them through the paces like we do any person who applies to work at Palantir. And I think that's the key, because they then don't feel like if they succeed, it's on the basis of something that they did and they earned, and that's it. And I think that is a very refreshing thing for all of them.
Oh, this is going to get, you're going to go from 500 applications to 50,000 applications because everyone's going to want to do this because it makes so much sense. But you are a classic meritocrat. You're a Columbia undergrad, and they used to teach Western Civ. Then you went to Yale Law School. I don't know what they teach at Yale Law School, but the people who go there are pretty smart. What do you want to get taught to them in 4 months? What do you want to have them anchored in, and how do you do it?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's obviously we can't recreate the Columbia core curriculum, which takes place over the course of years, and even those introductory classes take place over the course of a whole semester. And actually, this 4 week period, which is where we're really doing a quote unquote the great books program, is even shorter than that. So the way I think of it is like it's like gamma rays. We're trying to irradiate them with the core ideas that animate Western civilization that matter the most to Palantir. So that helps narrow the focus a little bit. And the way we decided to break it down was spend 1 week focusing on what is Western civilization. When we talk about protecting the West and defending the West, which Palantir talks about all the time, what is that thing? The second week was focused on what makes the United States unique within the West. What is special about America? Our constitutional system, our politics, our engineering culture, our foreign policy. And then in the third week, looking at different kinds of movements within the West that have proven successful, because we at Palantir, at the risk of immodesty, think of ourselves as something a little bit more than a company. There's a movement aspect to what we do, and so we wanted to show the fellows what does it look like to survive as a movement? What does it look like to thrive, to be in tension, but also be supportive of Western ideals? And what does it feel like to get stoned, literally or figuratively, to really come under criticism? Because that's something that happens to us all the time. And then the last week, we focused on examples of great leaders in particularly Western history. So we did Churchill, we did Lincoln, we went to Gettysburg, and we wanted to give everyone a sense of what is it like to lead from the front, because that's what we at Palantir do all the time when our engineers go out to work for our customers. And so, is it going to be as comprehensive as a going from Thucydides all the way to Machiavelli in the present? No, but we want to give our students and our fellows the key to unlock that door to start exploring it for themselves and to animate what they do at Palantir, which is build software every day with the right ideas.
Now, Jordan, I think Wilfred McClay is my favorite historian in America who wrote a comprehensive introduction. It's called Land of Hope. And in Land of Hope, he says, you got to enter the story at some point. We're going to enter it here, and we're going to build the skeleton because without the skeleton, you can't hang anything else on it. Is there a chronology that you insist that they understand about the West? It's the thing I do on the first day of law school every time I teach con law, a brief history of nearly everything. You got to know the Jews, the Greeks, the Romans, the Brits, and us. And I do it in 2 hours. Do you try and do that? Just give them a skeleton?
We did actually have a session like that where we basically actually went from prehistory all the way to the present, and that was Gideon Rose, who's quoted in the article, who teaches a introduction to international relations that's completely different from the way anyone else does it, and I think the fellows really benefited from that. And in fact, the first we did it on a personal level too. The very first thing we did was with Raihan Salam, who's the president of Manhattan Institute,
Ah,
and Raihan came
yes.
and spoke to the fellows, and he asked the fellows, can you tell us what your family was doing 4 generations ago? Where were they? And that was a really powerful introduction for everybody to see that they came from all over the world. And yet, this American project is their birthright and it belongs to them and the story belongs to them. And I think that was immediately got the fellows in a place of interestedness, acceptedness, and openness to the program. And the last thing I'll say is it's not so much, I don't, beyond the chronology. I think what we're trying to root them in is you have to start with foundation before you get to criticism. So one of the fellows asked me, why aren't we learning, what should we learn Marx? Can we learn all these kinds of, I said,
Huh.
absolutely. We'd love for you to learn Marx. We're not afraid of other ideas at all, but it's our job to orient you first and foremost. And so this is really an orientation. And I think one of the things that colleges have made a mistake with over the last generation plus is that they've leaned too heavily into criticism and not enough into foundation. And criticism is vital to our democracy. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be critical, we shouldn't question. It is one of the hallmarks of our system. But if you have only criticism, and especially if you start somebody's life on criticism and you don't provide them the foundation, then they're unmoored. And I think what fellowship is trying to do is give these fellows a mooring into what matters to us at Palantir, but really what matters to the United States and to America and to the West. And I think it's proven very magnetic to them. I think they've really taken to it.
Well, I hope you will come back and check in with me like quarterly on how the fellows are doing. But I want to ask you, are you having fun doing this? Because the best teachers are the ones who love teaching.
I have to tell you, Hugh, it's the most meaningful thing I've done in my career. It is such a special experience. We are all at Palantir enormously energized by the presence of the fellows. And it really is a credit to this first class, which put so much into it because it made us feel like we wanted to put even more into it ourselves. And I'm energized every single day going into this. I absolutely love it. And I'm excited for year two. We just launched applications for the second round of the fellowship for next fall. So anyone listening, if you have high schoolers, graduating seniors, please encourage them to apply. Search Meritocracy Fellowship at Palantir, and we would love to consider them. And it's a very special program, and we're looking for people who are not being considered by the standard talent pipelines, but deserve a shot.
I'd encourage every high school kid out there listening or their parent, go to Palantir Meritocracy. Did I get that right, Jordan? Palantir
That's right.
Meritocracy
Yeah.
Fellowship. Just
Yes.
Google Palantir Meritocracy Fellowship and apply. Jordan will be back in a couple of months to fill us in on how his first class is doing. Good luck with his experiment, Jordan. It's very important. Stay tuned, America.